Hi, it's Cranky Craig from Craig's To-Do List at WWNYTV.com. I'm kind of doing a spring movie blast here. Three little short reviews of films that I've seen in the last week. First film I'm going to talk about is called The Friend. So the premise is, what do you do when you inherit a Harlequin Great Dane and you have a tiny rent-controlled apartment in Manhattan that doesn't allow dogs? Well, you can't sneak Apollo, that's the Great Dane, into a building because it's not a Yorkie. The premise of Friends sounds funny, but this film isn't a comedy. I kept waiting for big dog jokes, like the size of its doo-doo or its drooling, but the film never goes any place you expect it to go. Naomi Watts stars as Iris, a solitary novelist who has a complicated relationship with a recently deceased Walter, played by Bill Murray. But everyone had a complicated relationship with Walter, including his three ex-wives, played by Carla Gugino, Constance Wu, and Noma Dumizweni. Sorry about that, Noma. And his put-upon daughter, Val, played by Sarah Pidgeon. Walter is a former mentor of Iris, who they're both writers, and he, as well as a former lover. And at the time of his death, Iris is probably his best friend. Iris is in a creative funk and struggling to find her voice again when the four-legged beast plops down at her bed and refuses to move. Naomi Watts is a two-time Oscar nominee and has been doing great work for decades, and not enough people have noticed her. I loved her in the recent feud, Capote versus the Swans. She's a subtle and an intelligent actress, and in this performance, she never goes over the top or appears too desperate, even as her character grows increasingly desperate. She remains subtle and and properly befuddled without ever being over the top or desperate. This film is really hard to characterize, which it never becomes laugh out loud funny or sobbing in your popcorn sad. No, the dog does not die. This is really important. This is actually a plot point in the film. But sometimes it feels like nothing's happening in this movie. And I think that's kind of the point. Iris struggles with writer's block, grief, her own identity, and her 150-pound dog. And that's sort of the movie. This is a perfect part for Murray, whose personal reputation is being a jerk. Here, he's a jerk, but a lovable jerk. Even though this film moves at a leisurely pace, it isn't predictable, and it's full of rewards and small surprises. Nothing earth-shattering, but all very real and relatable. Kudos to the filmmakers Scott McGee and David Siegel and Naomi Watts for creating a warm, unique movie viewing experience. I'm not sure what the audience or who the audience is for this, but this is a well-crafted film that really works. The next film I want to talk about is Warfare. This is perhaps the best reviewed film to be released recently, and after experiencing it, I understand why. Based on the memoirs of co-director and co-writer Ray Mendoza, who actually served as a Navy SEAL during the Iraqi War, the film unfolds in real time and is based on an incident that occurred in November 2006. Mendoza is working with veteran action helmer Alex Garland, who has a reputation for immersive combat and action sequences. Garland knows how to put you in the middle of the action, whether you want to be or not. His film Civil War still haunts me a year after seeing it. The story unfolds in real time, and in about 95 minutes is about all you can take of real time. There's an emphasis on authenticity in this film. It has no music score, purposely. Why? Because a music score might influence how you feel. The filmmakers are really concerned about not manipulating how you feel about this film. They want you just to experience it. This is a great ensemble of young actors who play the Navy SEALs in distress. Some of the most promising talent today. There's a terrific actor named Charles Melton, who I loved in May, December. Will Poulter, who was Emmy nominated for Dope Sick. And Kit Connor, who was only 20 when this was filmed. He stars in the Netflix hit Heartstopper. There's so much detail in this film. It's a film that you experience. It's neither anti-war, no pro-war. It simply shows it what it's like to be in this harrowing, visceral situation. It pulls no punches, but it also doesn't explain anything, and it doesn't need to. One technique I really liked about this film is its operatic technique. Even though it deals a lot with realism, there are moments where Garland, I'm assuming, puts in artistic flourishes that add to the power of the film. What do I mean? I mean scenes where there's just really horrible crap happening and it's all silent, and it kind of feels like you're taken out of the action for a reality, almost like you're giving the audience a moment of rest in the middle of all the chaos. And it really underscores what normal versus what normal isn't. So it's really helpful to help you absorb what's going on. Listen, war films are not new. Other films have done similar things like Platoon, Saving Private Ryan. But the key to warfare's effectiveness, I need a drink, sorry, is the relentlessness and the unfolding in real time in 95 minutes. None of these other films are able to do this. And it's a terrifying experience. It's what serving in a combat zone is really like. In the end credits, actors are paired with photographs of the real person they are portraying. And over half of the real soldiers' faces are obscured, and I assume because they didn't agree to show their faces. Are they concerned that they will be vilified by anti-war proponents, or maybe they just don't want anyone to know who they are and the trauma they carry with them forever? Somehow this underscores the whole concept of the film being real by them choosing not to show their faces. This is a focused, intense effort to convey who these young men are and what they went through. This is a great film to see in the big screen. I recommend not streaming it. On the big screen, you cannot escape the immersive feel of it. Okay, so the last film I want to talk about is called Drop. This film I expected to dislike and not like at all, but I recently, I'm happy to say I was wrong. This taut little thriller knows exactly what it is. It delivers a roller coaster ride of thrills, and it's a blast to watch. Oh, and to be young and beautiful and look like movie stars, just like Megan Fahey and Brendan Skalnar, who are so visually appealing they distract you from the action, which you really need to pay attention to. Megan plays Violet, a widowed single mother with trauma in her past, and kind-eyed hunky Henry is her first date. And they're meeting after months of messaging because of her trauma. It's taken her a while to get back out there. It's a first date from hell, and that's just an understatement. Of course, it's set in a swanky restaurant on the top of a skyscraper in Chicago because it's all about artifice. It's all about location. The restaurant becomes a character all its own, and its employees make up a great supporting cast, along with restaurant diners, who all seem a bit off, a little suspect. A shout out to Jeffrey Self, who redefines the idea of obnoxious waiter in this film. The plot is so convoluted and ridiculous, and not much of it is credible. Who cares? The director, Christopher Landon, and the screenwriters, Gillian Jacobs and Chris Roach, don't care if it's believable either. But they do care about entertaining you, and unless you're a complete crank, which apparently I am not, you will be entertained. When Violet starts to get drops, which are messages delivered through an app called Diggy Drops, which means the person sending them has to be in the immediate vicinity, the silly plot takes off. She must do what is told of her, or her sister who is babysitting her son, and her son are in danger. There are so many clever touches and payoffs in this film. The mention of any would be complete betrayal of trust from one movie lover to another. There is something almost gleeful about the ridiculousness of some of the twists that unfold. This film has, if this film has any flaw, it's its attempt at heavy drama when it deals with Violet's trauma from domestic abuse and other dark matters. It's not that it's treated frivolously, it's just that it feels a bit like a different movie. The film soars when the thrills are tweaked with humor and oh, no she didn't moments. Listen, Violet's her own hero, and this is no damsel in distress trope. Everyone knows what they are doing here in this movie. Everyone's on the same page. These filmmakers know what the film is and to deliver a film-going experience that may not linger, but you won't complain if you sit back and just enjoy the ride that it's meant to be. Check out other movie reviews at Craig's To-Do List at www, a gazillion W's, www.wnytv.com, and have a good weekend.